So, here now we are going to discuss new chapter, that is oscillations. So, in oscillations, first one is what is periodic motion and what is oscillatory motion, oscillatory and vibratory motion. So, see here the definition of first periodic motion, motion of a body which repeats itself after a fixed interval of time is called periodic motion. So, that the motion which is repeating itself identically after a fixed interval of time, we call it a periodic motion. Example, like a revolution of earth around the sun. See here, earth revolves around the sun and it repeats its motion after a regular interval of time. So, that is an example of the periodic motion. Similarly, about the motion of hands of a clock, you see here the motion of hands of a clock. If you take hour hand or the minutes hand or the second hands, their motion is repeated after a regular interval of time. Like in the 60 seconds, second hand complete one revolution. So, similarly minute hand and hour hand. So, these motions are example of periodic motion. Now, see oscillatory motion or vibratory motion. This is the to and fro or back and forth motion of a body about a fixed point is called oscillatory motion. Example, motion of the pendulum and motion of a loaded spring. Now, see here, how do we say the motion of a pendulum is an oscillatory motion, or loaded of a spring also is an oscillatory motion. So, now we can understand these things with the help of diagram. Suppose you have taken here, this is the suspension point and a pendulum is here, this is the length of the thread and there is a bob, metallic bob. As it is taken to this side here and it is released, it starts oscillating like this between two fixed points A and B, and this is called here mean position. Mean position or equilibrium position also we call it. So, this is a to and fro motion or the back and forth motion is known as here oscillatory or vibratory motion. Similarly, if you are taking a spring, suppose the spring is here and this spring is like this and a mass is hung here. When the mass is hung here, so its force is acting mg downside, and when you pull this mass downward by a small displacement and release it, so this mass will start oscillating like this, going up to the certain height and the below to this, and this type of motion is also an example of the oscillatory or vibratory motion.